A family is something that supports each other. We don't need a daughter-in-law who can't have children and depends on her husband like a parasite. Please leave this house as soon as possible. I have been treated like a maid and even called a parasite in the end. I have never leached off of my husband, and we have always supported each other as a family. After you leave, I'll have my daughter live here, so please never come back again. My mother-in-law said nonchalantly with a cold look, while sighing. It seemed like she didn't really see me as a person. I understand. I will leave once I pack my belongings. As I began to prepare, my mother-in-law watched me with a satisfied smile. She must have been happy that she was successful in driving me out. At that moment, I made a decision. It's my turn now. Susan, I hope you don't regret it. My name is Ava Thompson, and I'm 38 years old. I work for an IT company. It has been almost 20 years since my husband and I met in a school club in university, and we've been married for 10 years. My husband works in civil engineering and we are both busy with work, but our relationship as a couple is harmonious and we support each other as dual income earners. Last year, we moved into a luxury condominium and our married life has been smooth sailing. We were really happy. However, there were two major concerns. One was that even after 10 years of marriage, we were still unable to have a baby. Both my husband and I love children and we had hoped for one since the beginning of our marriage. But I haven't gotten pregnant, so we are undergoing infertility treatment. With the support of my husband, we have been enduring the grueling infertility treatment for 5 years, which requires not only financial resources but also physical and mental strength. My kind husband has been fully cooperative, and we have continued with infertility treatment while thinking about our yet-to-be-born child. It is said that mental stability is necessary for infertility treatment, and we need to create a relaxed environment where a baby can easily conceive, but there are people who interfere with that. That's the second problem, the presence of my mother-in-law. I wonder when I'll be able to hold Mason's child. It's really troubling. How many more years until that happens? Every time I see my mother-in-law, she starts bullying me. Her relentless mistreatment towards me, who has no children, knows no bounds. My father-in-law travels frequently, so there is no one to stop my mother-in-law's behavior or comments. I haven't told my husband about it because I don't want to cause him unnecessary worry. Fortunately, the silver lining in this unfortunate situation is that I only have to see my mother-in-law a few times a month. I've been enduring it by convincing myself that I just need to bear those few times. One day, my mother-in-law, who usually tells me before coming over, unexpectedly visited me. She was carrying a large suitcase. What happened, Susan? I won't go back home anymore. Please let me stay here for a while. Hold on, Susan. She didn't seem to hear me, and she boldly entered my house pulling her suitcase. Sigh, I'm so tired and fed up. My mother-in-law said that and then proceeded to lie down on the sofa without permission. Mom, what's wrong? Did something happen? Mason, I can only rely on you. Please help me. My husband, who was having a meal, also seemed surprised by the sudden visit of his mother. According to my mother-in-law's story, it seemed that she had a fight with her husband. What should I do, Mason? I will let you stay only for tonight since it's already late. Sure, if it's just for today. After discussing with my husband, I decided to let my mother-in-law stay, thinking it would be for just one day. However, that one day turned into 2, and 2 days turned into 3, with no signs of my mother-in-law returning home. My father-in-law hasn't contacted us, and it seemed that he had no intention of coming to get her. I wanted my mother-in-law to go back home as soon as possible. I had been bullied even though I only met her a few times a month, so if I had to see her every day, it would be natural for me to be bullied. Ava, is your belly a little bigger? Have you finally gotten pregnant? No, I am not pregnant, Susan. Oh, I see. You just ate too much. You are such a useless daughter-in-law, but you still eat so much food. She said such things nonchalantly only when my husband was not around. However, since I also had work, I couldn't afford to get involved in such things all the time. My husband and I lived our lives as usual, always busy with work. My mother-in-law has been staying at our condo since then. The way she treats me has been getting worse day by day, and now she treats me like a maid. Ava, make some tea for me. Ava, clean the bathroom. Ava, I'm hungry. She acts like a kind mother-in-law in front of my husband. Furthermore, my mother-in-law started inviting my sister-in-law over to the condo. When I come home tired from work. Oh, you're back, Ava. Can you prepare some finger food for us? My mother-in-law and sister-in-law were drinking and having a good time. They had no intention of cleaning up the messy room. You live in such a nice place. It's too good for you and Mason. You think so, too? You're welcome to come and visit anytime. While hearing those words, I quickly made some finger food for them. By the way, it seems that my sister-in-law has been playing around since she was young and still hasn't changed. She's not married and naturally, she doesn't have any children, but my mother-in-law doesn't say anything to her. It seems that my mother-in-law is indulgent towards her own daughter. I have to go now. See you. My sister-in-law always left before my husband came home. After several days of this, I became physically and mentally exhausted. I had been keeping silent about my mother-in-law's bullying so as not to cause trouble to my husband, but I've had enough. I told my husband, and he became very angry when he learned that his sister had also been taking advantage of me. Mom! This is mine and Ava's house, so please stop messing around as you please. And don't bring my sister here either, just go home already. Sorry, Mason. I had a fight with your dad and I was feeling lonely, so I ended up calling your older sister to cheer me up. I'll be careful, and I'm sorry, Ava. Of course, there is no sincerity in her apology. Although my husband warned his mother, she continued to treat me poorly and criticize me when he wasn't around. Furthermore, my mother-in-law still came to visit our home frequently, and eventually my sister-in-law started doing the same. In those times, my husband was usually absent. My sister-in-law also conveniently came over when my husband was not around. I could no longer tolerate it. I couldn't take it when I thought that this would be my life from now on. This is mine and Mason's house. You two, please leave already. Don't disrupt our lives. I said it, I finally said it. And then, what do you think happened? My mother-in-law gave me a surprising response. Ava, what are you talking about? This is Mason's house, and that means that it's also my house. You're just living here as a parasite on Mason. I was at a loss for words and stood frozen, but my mother-in-law continued mercilessly. A family is about supporting each other, and we don't need a daughter-in-law who can't even have children and leeches off her husband. It's you who needs to leave this house as soon as possible. I have been treated like a maid, and even called a parasite in the end. I have never leeched off of my husband. We have been supporting each other as a family. After you leave, I'll have my daughter live here, so please never come back again. My mother-in-law said nonchalantly with a cold look, while sighing. It seemed like she didn't really see me as a person. I understand, I'll leave once I pack my things. As I began to prepare, my mother-in-law smiled with satisfaction. She must be happy that she succeeded in driving me out. At that moment, I made a decision. It's my turn now. Susan, I hope you don't regret it. I explained the situation to my husband and we decided to go to my parents' house. I have told my parents everything about what had happened so far, and also about my future plans. When they heard about my plans, they said we will always support you and Mason. My husband also smiled at me with a look that seemed to indicate he had made some sort of resolution and let go of something. As planned, a few days later, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law moved into our condo. My husband and I went to the condo on the day of the move. Oh, is that you? Mason? Ava? What brought you here? Did you forget something at our house? If you're not involved, please leave. We are busy with the move, and if you're going to cause trouble for your mother, don't come back, Mason. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law behave as if the condo has been theirs from the beginning. At this point, even if my husband says something, they would not listen. Susan, Lucy, I'll say it one last time. Could you please leave? What? You can't see it? We're moving in here today, so it's you who needs to leave. I won't say it again. I see, I understand. However, unfortunately, you cannot live here as I have terminated my lease for this condo. What? My mother-in-law looked confused and asked again. My sister-in-law was also baffled in the same way. This condo is registered in Ava's name and she has terminated the contract. Yes, I'm the owner of this condo. I informed the condo manager of the cancellation. It's no longer anyone's condo. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law froze with their mouths open first, and then they started getting angry. However, there is nothing to be afraid of because my husband and my parents are on my side. Congratulations on your move, but I think you'll soon receive a message from the building manager asking you to organize your belongings. I conveyed the facts calmly, but they refused to believe. Mom, I'm sure this is a plan by Ava to drive us out of the condo. She's lying to us like that. Don't take it seriously. She's really wicked. I see, it's foolish. Of course, this was also within expectations. I showed them the cancellation document. The cancellation is certain. This is a genuine cancellation document. Wait, she has really cancelled it. No. I'm definitely staying here. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law finally believed me, but they still seemed to have no intention of leaving the condo, so I proposed to them. All right then. Let's do this. We should just register this condo in your name, Susan. That way, you can live here, can't you? Please do it right away. Honestly, why didn't you say that kind of thing first? This will solve the problem, won't it? By the way, I want to let you know that the rent for this place is $3,300, so good luck, Susan and Lucy. Just remembering the faces of my mother-in-law and sister-in-law at that time makes me feel so good. What's that? You must be kidding. We can't afford it. But it's a fact that the rent is $3,300, and we've been managing to pay it, so if you don't pay, you can't live here, okay? If you can't afford it, then you have no choice but to move out. My mother-in-law started asking her son, who has been watching the whole situation closely, for help. Hey, Mason! Please help me! There's no way I can pay $3,300, and now Ava is being mean to me. Mason, are you being deceived by Ava? Why aren't you saying anything? Both my mother-in-law and sister-in-law clung to him, but my husband said this. Mom, I heard everything from Ava. It seems that you called her a parasitic wife. Yet, you're coming to me for help. Isn't that contradictory? No, that's more of a play on words or something like that. I wasn't serious. Anyway, please stop mooching off of me. If you understand, then pack up your things and leave. My husband said calmly. Let's go, Ava, he said, and we left the condo. After that, my husband received a constant stream of phone calls from his mother and sister asking to borrow money. He chose to completely ignore them and eventually even blocked their calls. My husband explained the situation to his father. His father became furious with his wife and daughter, and he said that he would sell his own house to kick them out as well. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law called me asking for a loan because they had lost both the condo and their family home and had nowhere else to go. The two of them, who have no savings and can't even work properly, live in extreme poverty in a rundown apartment. While talking with my father-in-law, I learned one thing. When my mother-in-law first visited our house, she said she had fought with my father-in-law, but that was a blatant lie. It seems that my mother-in-law lied to my father-in-law saying I want to help Mason and Ava, and left the house. Now it makes sense that my father-in-law never called us when my mother-in-law said that she had a fight with him and left the house. It's likely that she originally came to try to take over the condo. My mother-in-law's behavior was so outrageous that my father-in-law was beyond anger and became astounded and decided to divorce her. Although it was a lie that they had fought, it seemed that the relationship between them had long been cold. It's possible that my father-in-law had already been considering divorce or selling their home. My mother-in-law pleaded with tears to stop it, but my father-in-law said, I can't live with a wife who leeches off of her husband. It was a phrase I had heard somewhere before. Yes, it was the phrase my mother-in-law had said to me, a wife who leeched off of her husband. It was ironic that the same words came back to haunt her. At that time, my husband and I were living with my parents with their help until we found a new place to live. My husband's parents were like that, but my parents are a couple who respect each other. Through this experience, both my husband and I strongly felt that we want to be a couple like that. I am living surrounded by a kind husband under the care of my kind parents. I guess my mind was at peace with that. Our long-awaited baby has come to us. I hope the three of us, my husband, our baby, and I, can support each other, not depend on each other like my mother-in-law and sister-in-law.